Hey, how's it going? Dave here, and in today's video I'm joined by my good friend Lou. Say hi, Lou. And we're going to be talking about just a few mistakes that lots of guitarists make, including ourselves, from experience, that hopefully you can learn from, and if you're making these mistakes you can correct them yourself. So, I think let's get straight into it.
Yes.
Yeah? So, the first mistake, what would that be?
So one mistake that I made quite commonly when I was just starting out, I used to think that a heavier gauge string would make you a better player, and would sound better, it would sound heavier and cooler.
Sure, in a metal context.
Yeah,
okay.
in a metal context, or like, you know, even I quite like the sound of it when it was clean. But one thing that I realised recently is it deadens the sound of your instrument a lot, and it doesn't actually help you out, because it can slow you down, because the tension that you're putting into being able to press down that string will eventually just kind of slow down your entire ability to play it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't really have a lot to add to that. Like, yeah, if you're wanting to kind of get faster, improve your stamina, then thicker strings are going to hinder that, really, because obviously it takes more effort to kind of run through the strings. Yeah. But at the same time, you could maybe use that as a way of improving your endurance and stamina, and then so you could use thicker strings to practice, but then when you get to like a studio setting or where you really need to play, stick some lighter strings on, and then it will be a breeze for you. So.
Yeah, I think I actually saw a video of Josh Milton. He was talking about it, and he said that he used to practice on this acoustic guitar with like action about that high off the fretboard.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of practicing the riffs or the solo lines or whatever. And when he took that to the electric guitar, it was just about 10 times easier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, I've had situations where I've only had an acoustic guitar available to me that made a really funny noise. I've only had an acoustic guitar available at a particular time, and I've just been learning riffs and stuff on it, and then as soon as you go to the electric, then it becomes so much easier. So maybe actually that could be a cool exercise that you can take from this. Like, if you're learning something, it might be a nice idea to learn it on an acoustic first, and then when you move to electric, it'll be a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
So, tip number 2, or mistake number 2.
Yeah, mistake number 2. Not practicing to a metronome.
Yes. Oh my god. Just, if you don't practice to a metronome, just stop.
Give up.
No, just start practicing with a metronome. Yeah. Like, the amount of difference it makes to your playing is just immense. Like, students who have come to me have been playing guitar for a while, but I've never used the metronome. You can see they've got something there. They're good, but like when I introduce the metronome, like their results just skyrocket. Yeah. So it's nothing more really to say. Like it's just going to improve everything really about your playing, absolutely. Right? So just use a metronome. Yeah. Not using a metronome is a very big mistake. Yeah.
Cool. Mistake number 3. This kind of leads on from the first point, which is tensing when you're playing guitar. When you see a lot of guitarists, you see them kind of like making those faces, and you think, oh, they're really putting a lot of effort into it. They're not. they're just not. Tensing up, again, like, it slows down your entire ability to play strings, and if you're tensing up your right hand or your left hand, what you play will be slower and less accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. And this leads on from metronomes, actually, because if you don't practice with a metronome and you try and learn something at full speed, you're going to be more likely to tense up because it's a bit too intense for you. So if you start slowly and make a conscious effort to keep every part of your arms and your body relaxed, then it's going to make a big difference. Something Galen showed me, actually, is when you're playing and you're struggling with a certain lick or riff or something, just at a random moment, freeze frame like your entire body. So like, and then notice the points of your body where there's tension, and then just release that tension.
I remember him telling me that at the time. There was another tip that he told me, which was World War II playing, just flying over. So yeah, another tip that Galen actually said was, I remember there was another tip that Galen told me, which was like, try not to tense at all until you actually hit the string. Like, just try not to put any kind of tension in your hand until you touch the string.
Okay.
And then just the smallest amount of tension. And actually, what can really help with that is trying to find the right amount of tension to press down on the string. So press it down as softly as you can, and then increase that until you get the note. You get the note. And
that's a good. Yeah, I've heard that exercise like as a warm up. I've not really done it very much, but maybe I should start doing it now. Like, just when you start playing to kind of do that exercise on different frets with different fingers. Just slowly put pressure on the string until it makes a note, and then that's as hard as you need to press down on it. Yeah,
and it's funny because you think that you need to press down harder on the string when you first start out, but you really don't need to press down that hard.
No. Like obviously, like with students that are complete beginners for me, I'm like they're pressing down really hard and they're not making a note. I'm like, just move it a bit closer to the fret, and they instantly make. So it's more about kind of where your finger's positioned. If you're using the tip of your finger, because there you have kind of more leverage, I guess. I've also had students that accidentally mute the string and they think that they're not pushing down hard enough. Setting up your guitar, learn how to do it. Your neck will warp after a while, and will need setting up. Particularly after, I cannot remember all of this. Particularly after a few restrings, the wood's still super reactive and dry to humid climates. So learning,
super reactive to dry and humid climates. So learning how to set up the guitar will save you a world of pain when your fingers are trembling at the concept of pushing down the G string at fret 12.
Bruv, you just interrupted me mid-sentence. What is that about?
You finished it perfectly as well.
Learn how to set up your guitar. It'll be useful. Do you have anything more to say about that?
No, not really. Just make sure you set up your guitar. It does help.
Yeah,
seriously, it does help. There have been times where I've been playing my guitar and I'm like, I'm not as good as I was like last week, and that's because I've restrung the guitar with a higher gauge string, and the neck has just gone
Yeah.
It doesn't like it. It doesn't like it. So you've got to set it up.
Plus, it will just save you lots of money from taking it into guitar shops. So.
And it seems really scary, like when you first do it. Like you think that, oh god, this is going to be the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But you won't mess up your guitar if you just do it slowly. Just don't rush it. Just slowly turn the truss rod, lower and raise the bridge action. Keep on playing it, retune it, and eventually you'll get what you're looking for.
Yeah. So tip number 5. I don't know why you wrote this, but let's go with it anyway. Fashion mistakes. Leather waistcoat and cuffs. What was I thinking? Never doing that again. Well, I'm glad I never made that mistake myself. Yeah.
I made that mistake quite.
I guess this is more for like a live setting and not your bedroom.
Yeah. This isn't a serious tip.
Yeah.
Don't take this seriously. If you like cuffs and other waistcoats,
just
do your thing.
Do your thing. Yeah.
I'm just not doing that again.
There you go. Make sure you look good when you're playing. Tip number 6 then: bring spare strings on stage and spare cables. Things break on stage, man. Yes, they do. Things break on stage. I've seen recently, like one of the last gigs I played, probably the last gig before this whole lockdown thing. A pop punk band was playing. The guy's D string broke, and pop punk. Every single power chord you need the D string, right? So luckily I had a spare one with me, so I could give it to him, and he changed it during his set. But like, he would have been screwed if. If he had to continue, like it was like the second song as well. So like,
oh my god,
if he did the whole song, well, I don't know if it was the second song, but it was near the beginning of the set. So like, if he had to do the entire set with no D string,
that would have been awful.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember seeing Corvaio play, I think at the Green Door Store a few years back, and I think it was Bob. He broke all of his strings. I'm pretty sure he broke all of his strings, or at least like a good 2 or 3 of them.
All of them, or 2 or 3 of them.
It was all the strings that he needed to use.
Sure, yeah.
And they just like snapped, like all of the bridge, and then he replaced them, and they snapped again.
Jeez.
So like having spare strings can be really useful. Like that's happened to me before. Also, make sure you file down your bridge. Just a bonus tip. Because if your bridge is particularly sharp, that will break your string at the bridge. If you're finding that's where your string breaks, file it down.
That has happened to me, and filing it down has helped. So also spare leads. Something that's happened to me before is my band used to use a mixer. This has happened to me twice, and it's like the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened. So like, if you have any sort of device, have a spare power cable for it. Yeah, because this mixer that we used it wasn't a kettle lead. It wasn't like a typical like 9-volt thing. It was a specific lead made for this mixer. You couldn't really buy them anywhere else.
So it's like one of those just DC adapters.
It was weird, basically. And basically this mixer was how we ran our backing track. The power cable didn't work, so our backing track couldn't work. So what we had to do is run the backing track through a monitor, a stage monitor, right, with the click playing.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So in any kind of like down moment in one of our songs, you'd hear the click.
Oh, God.
And the worst part was people started clapping along with the click, and then they started clapping out of time with it. And it's happened. That was one really serious one with Callista. It happened again with Dreamwaves once, but luckily we managed to kind of mask the sound of the click a little bit, so that was okay. But just make sure you have like spares of literally everything that you can possibly bring.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what will go wrong, and things will go wrong that you're not prepared for whatsoever.
Backing tracks are the worst with that when things go wrong. I mean, like, you know, we use like a sample pad, like the one that Jordan uses, and that, like, things mess up with that all the time. It's really like just trying to get a good sort of setup for your backing track when you're playing live. That, you know, you got to be prepared. You got to have extra cables. You got to make sure that you're not going to have a situation where it's going to come out, because if the audience can hear that, like, it can be funny, and the show.
It's funny
can be,
looking back on it, but not in the moment.
Not in the moment.
Yeah.
It makes you feel really shit.
Yeah. I don't know if has it ever happened to you. I don't think it.
No. I don't think it's directly happened to us.
No.
We kept on thinking it was going to happen because like one of the mixers we were using, like, it kept on bleeding the metronome through it.
Oh man!
But like it's never like happened that much. But just backing track cutting out, that's happened. We've had the sound guy. We've had the sound guy walk out during a show, so we're standing there, we're hearing the backing track, and we're like, yeah, and the sound guy's fucked up.
Oh man!
There's no sound coming out.
Don't. Jacob Aaron and the Rain, right?
Yeah.
We had one really dancey song which was like super synth heavy, right? And the backing track for the entire set just didn't work.
No.
So we had to improvise shit in between, because there were bits where it was literally just drums and backing track.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do when there's just drums playing and we're standing there? Like, yeah, we had to kind of just improvise little solo-y bits.
Oh man.
It was painful, but we made it work. If you're able to, that's another thing actually. Like, getting really good at improvising is probably really important in case things go wrong, because then you can just still entertain people. Hello.
Yeah.
Tip number 7. Change your strings before a recording. Old strings will sound duller and out of tune. Yes, I've made this mistake. I always make this mistake because I never change my strings, and I really should. But it's just effort for me. I'm just like, But yeah, no. If you're going into a recording, like, don't use old strings. Like, the sound is like a night and day difference. Isn't it? So,
absolutely,
like,
absolutely. And you know, I don't know why, but old strings, that, you know, you start seeing a little warp in them. So they start getting pulled towards the pickups more. So they just start going. So they don't retain tuning anywhere near as well as they do like when they're fresh.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing more to be said on that, really.
No, not really.
Change your strings frequently, and especially change your strings right before recording. Tip number 8. Oh, this is a long one. How about you interrupt me halfway through this one as well?
I'll interrupt you halfway through.
If you use pedals, know your signal chain. Effects in the front of the amp and in the effects loop will have a very different sound. The front of the amp will process the effects through the amp. So if you have any level of drive, it will drive the effect.
In the effects loop. Alright, so in the effects loop, the effects loop will give you a much cleaner sound. It will also have a hugely different sound, adding effect post, as they won't be processed through either the cab or the amp. All have their uses. It's up to you guys to see what you think's best. Really.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like, most people kind of use the effects loop for their like lead effects and stuff, right? But I don't. I always put with my band Callista. We're a post-rock band, so all the tremolo picking with reverb and delay, the effects sound so much better if you put them before the amp. So it's just just make sure you know which. Know your signal chain, basically. Just know where you want to put your effects, because that has a major effect on your sound, really, doesn't it?
Major effect on your effects. All right.
We're on number 9, So use strap locks.
Definitely. If you like a lot of guitars that, in my experience anyway, that are kind of sort of decent entry level guitars, like the PRS SE series or Epiphones particularly, the strap locks for some reason are like quite small in comparison, and don't lock onto the strap very well. So
Okay.
it's really easy for them to just become detached. I don't know why it is. Like with the PRS, I don't know if because you had one of the American made ones for a while, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same with those, but with the SE series, they've got like these rounded strap buttons.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I don't know very much about strap locks, to be honest, because I don't really use them, and that's a big mistake, which is what we're talking about now.
Well, I mean, if you never had like like a serious incident with your guitar strap coming off.
No, I have. That's the thing.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. And I just still haven't got strap locks. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
the strap locks are useful. I haven't used them for ages, but there have been several times where I've been like,
Yeah.
oh, this is not good. Just like you're in the middle of a solo and just like it just comes detached and you're one-handing it. It's not a good look.
No, it's not a good look. Yeah. You see it happen all the time at gigs as well. So like.
Yeah. I remember I was playing with this band. I'm not going to name them because I don't think they'd appreciate it. But the guitarist, his strap came off. He was actually using strap locks as well.
Oh right.
And like it just came right off, and I think I tried to help him get his strap back on.
Yeah.
And it came off again, and it was really bad. So he had to like play the remainder of like I think it was half the set like on his
Just
knee.
like that. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah. No.
Cool.
Poor
Yeah.
guy.
So yeah, that's a mistake that I'm gonna learn from. I'm gonna get some strap locks soon. It'll stop me because now Callista, we're practicing again together today for the first time.
Really?
Since
Oh,
the
awesome.
lockdown things stopped. So it's a thing in practice that happens as well. Like I'll have to sit down for half of practice if my like strap kind of
It's
So
amazing.
yeah. Tip number 10. This is the final tip. Actually, I've got a bonus tip after this. So
Oh, yeah.
warm up before you go on stage. So.
Yes.
Yes.
So definitely warm up before you go on stage, particularly in the winter. Like it might be different depending on where the climate is, but particularly in the UK, if it gets to winter, things start to get cold. Your hands can start to sort of freeze up, and you're going, "Oh, why aren't I playing so good?"
Yeah.
And it can literally just be because your hands are stiff and cold.
Yeah.
And just stretching, just doing some simple stretches. Kind of stretching out your wrist, making sure that all your tendons in your forearm are nice and loosened up, and same with this arm as well. It'll stop any injuries that you get, any potential injuries, and it'll just make you play better. You will be very grateful for it when you're up on stage and you're not playing badly.
Exactly. Yeah. It's essential. Like if you're playing kind of like metal, where like a lot of right hand stuff's going on.
Yeah.
Especially for me, like my entire set for my band is tremolo picking. Like I don't do anything else in my band. Like literally, it's just tremolo picking. So it's essential that I do so many like right hand warm ups because it just loosens you up and then less chance of you seizing up mid song and then like not being having to play things half time and just
I mean like because going on stage can be stressful enough. Like so you will get like without you even noticing, you will get tense. And this also goes for vocalists as well. Like this isn't just guitarists. Like I've had it so many times where I haven't warmed up before I've gone on stage and I'm like and you just completely miss a note.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference. I love the Bob Tett approach to warming up. Like he'll be watching the band before him whilst warming up. Like he's just there in the middle of the crowd with his guitar on, just warming up.
That's
it's
fantastic.
just great. Yeah. So if you have to do that at a gig, just do it.
Just do it. Particularly small gigs. Like there's nowhere else to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there you go. My final tip is. The first note of a scale is called the tonic, not the root note, and everyone makes that mistake, including myself. So we need to start calling it the tonic.
Start a petition.
Let's start a petition. Change.org.
Change.org. Change everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
Shut up.
God, you just want the spotlight, don't you? If you enjoyed the video, make sure you head over to Lou's channel because I'm doing a video on his channel too, and that should be a funny one. And like this video. Let us know what you thought in the comments. If you've got any other particular mistakes that lots of guitarists make, then drop them down in the comments. See you later.
Cheers.
Nice one.